How does it feel to be a master at dance?
Damn. The beautiful thing about solo dancing, especially if you're somebody who has a lot of stuff that you want to work out internally, is just you and your feeling. The magic of the dance is in the follow. It's 100% a conversation. And I find that in life too, a lot of times we just got to listen more. When I look around my friendship group who are very great dancers, they all have this increased level of empathy. Some people have some really complex life situations going on outside of the dance that I've seen them navigate with such grace, such attention. I believe dance to be one of those ways that they've practiced and cultivated that type of tenacity, that type of grit and integrity. Dance is so wonderful. I'm so glad I found it.
I love it. Thank you very much for that. Well, welcome everyone to the Teevee Show Podcast. Once again, my name is Teevee and this is my good friend Chris, back in the house or in the hotel room in Austin today. Today we're going to talk about how we met, which was through dance. Because today, or actually this weekend, we drove down here for the Neo Kids Festival, which I think is the 9th annual edition.
Woo woo.
And it's your first time, right?
This is my first time here at Neo Kids.
Yes. I'm actually good friends with the organizer. I've known him since the very beginning of my dance Kizomba Urban Kids journey.
Shout out Charles
Ogar, Neo Kids,
Ogarius.
Oh yeah. How do you say it? We haven't done one of these in a while, so pardon the awkwardness and foolishness before we even get into the real material. We're going to talk about dance and what it means for us, how we got into it, why it's important, because it's only right given that we are here for a dance festival. So I'll start with this question. Chris, how does it feel to be a master at dance?
Damn. Wow. You're too kind, my good sir. It feels amazing to have an art form that allows me to leverage my body. And for me, dance is a very spiritual thing. So, you asked a question, and it's really, I wasn't. We didn't plan this, so
that's this is the point. I want real. I want rehearsed conversations.
Yeah,
Let's
wow.
go.
So, dance means a lot to me, and but we're gonna get into it. But for me, it really just means a lot of freedom to explore myself, to explore rhythmically with my dance partner, and to have fun, to be creative. And dance has given me a lot of wonderful moments in life. I've met a lot of amazing people. I've visited a lot of different places because of dance, and it's just a gift that keeps on giving. And
this dude has traveled internationally to dance. I've been in Mexico, but outside of that, it's not like I've done that. This guy's been all over the world.
I haven't been to Asia yet, so.
Look out, Asia.
Yeah. So what about you?
Well, I'll say that for me, I started dancing in 2009 after a breakup. And in organizing events now and being an events person kind of thing and promoting it, I realized that that's actually the impetus for a lot of people to start dancing, especially for dudes. Is after a breakup, they go to take dance classes because they figure they can. This will help, right? They hear about it, and it was true for me. I started dancing salsa, then I danced bachata. 2009. Happy shoulders.
Love salsa.
Oh yeah, that's right. And I want to get into that actually. But I remember my ex-girlfriend used to say to me, hey, we went to this event, and at the event, everyone was dancing really well, and she wanted me to go out and dance. I'm like, I can't do that. It was really intimidating. People were doing all types of crazy things. And she said, you just have to feel it. You just have to feel it. And it was crazy to me because I'm like, they're not just feeling it. There's no way that they're just feeling it.
Yeah, all those complicated steps and patterns. That's just a feeling?
That's like
they're professional. Dance with the Stars.
Trained. Like they doing week classes.
Rhythmic athletes.
I had never been in the dance community.
Just feel it.
No, that can't be true. And so we got into it. It was a bad breakup in that regard because I really felt intimidated. I wanted to dance, and I was encouraging her to dance. But we did break up for a handful of other reasons, which are fine. We're good friends now. I started taking dance classes, and when I went to dance class, I'm like, damn it, I was right. Look at all these, like they're 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. Or is it whatever the number, the counting is, but in salsa. I'm like, there is some feeling. But I validated that point for myself. And I did fall in love with the idea of dance. I never really got good at salsa. I did enjoy the people. And that's one of the biggest things that snapped right away. Some of my closest friends still to this day are from those original classes that I took. It's a community thing. It's social. And it was a beautiful thing that continued to inspire me to show up because I didn't want to go to dance class. I did, but I used to get crazy story. I didn't have a lot of money, and classes were in North Dallas. I lived in Oak Cliff, and I had a really crappy car at the time. So when it came to actually going to classes sometimes or going to socials, when I found out what socials were, what are socials?
Social is a social gathering of dancers or people who just like to move their body to music.
It's essentially a party.
It's essentially
a party at a club, at a bar, at a dance studio where you don't teach. You're there to actually dance without people teaching you how to dance. But went to socials. They would encourage me to go, and the only way I would go is if I had committed to a friend or two in class that I was going to be there. If I did not, I would get diarrhea. It was my body trying to keep me home and keep me safe. That's what I ended up figuring out. I would literally get like tummy aches that were so bad, and I get.
Are you for real?
I am not bullshitting you. And it was the craziest thing. After about the fourth or fifth time, I'm like, oh, I didn't have diarrhea yesterday, and I didn't have the diarrhea.
Was it like nervousness?
It was nervousness.
Okay.
It was anxiety.
I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. Okay.
Yeah,
I didn't get diarrhea, but
I did.
I get that.
I was so intimidated. Well, I didn't grow up dancing, and it was actually frowned upon in my household by my father to dance because, only gay people dance. Only he wasn't so kind in his verbiage at the time. So I didn't dance, but I felt it. I always felt it. I wanted to. Took the classes, started growing in it. Didn't really get good, but I fucking loved the people. And when that did show up, when I got over my anxiety, sorry, people, it might have been a little too much. But when I got over it and I just show up, I always had a good time. Every single time, it felt like an amazing feeling. I'm like, this is insane. It felt like a drug, actually. Just as this I don't know, I couldn't even describe it. Just felt good.
There's actually a New York Times article, and there's several neuro studies that show about the link between dancing and movement-based like aerobics and stuff like that, and the dopamine, serotonin, and epinephrine, like all the different reward centers of the brain, and also on longevity, on health, on mood. Yeah. There's a whole plethora of benefits to something like dancing. So, yeah, you're not too off base with that.
Which makes sense because I'm 15 years later. Look at me. I'm so damn young.
Yeah.
That makes sense why I look so amazing. I'm kidding, guys. I don't look that amazing. Just a little. But that's how I got started into it. To follow that up, though, for you, was dance a part of your culture, a part of your upbringing?
Yeah, so I'm West African. I'm from Ghana. In my culture, dancing is a big thing, a lot of hips, a lot of movement. But unlike you, dancing wasn't frowned in my household. It was encouraged. However, as a child, I was deathly insecure of dancing. I had a growth spurt really young. I just was not comfortable dancing. So I actually wrote a thread about this.
Okay.
I don't have my phone, otherwise I'd
just
read.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Sure.
There was a quote in there I really liked. But either way, so like my aunties, uncles, my mom, they'd be dancing to a lot of the high life music, getting down. And, they'd like kind of beckon different cousins and nieces would run and dance and stuff. And I'm just like, nah, not me. I'm going to sit here and eat my fufu and just,
Can I ask why you think that you were intimidated, or what was it that prevented you from jumping out there? Because apparently your whole family's doing it. What kept you?
I don't know. I guess for some reason at that age, I just felt uncomfortable. I just felt not at ease. And it's something that ate away at me for a lot of years in my adolescence, to the point where, getting to the story of how I started dancing, I had graduated high school. And at this time, I'm like, yo, I'm done. Maybe I go to college. Maybe I don't. Maybe I start working. life's like, this is the first time in life I create my own schedule.
Right.
You know, because you got elementary, you got
You're all grown up. You're a man now.
yeah, clearly not. But this was the first time that I had a choice, and I sat down one day, and I said, "Wow, I'm glad I graduated high school. I had an IEP, ADHD, so individualized educational plan. So
Thank you, because I was like, there's way too many
yeah.
acronyms there.
Yeah. So I sat down after that, and I was like, wow, it took a lot for me to graduate. What do I want to do with my life now? If I was to die tomorrow, what would I regret? Was the question I asked myself.
You were 18?
Whatever you graduated high school at age
18, 19? 17,
something like that.
Okay.
And I said,
that's a great question.
yeah, that's what I asked myself. If I was to die today, what would I regret? And the answer that came to me was I'd regret not dancing. So from that moment on, I started dancing. So how I started was YouTube videos, kind of like tutorials. I was like back in the day when YouTube first started, horrible format. And I had seen in high school, right before I graduated, In the Heights. Beautiful play, In the Heights.
You actually seen it?
I saw it on Broadway, yeah.
Oh, my God, okay.
Yeah, because
they just did a movie recently.
Yeah, they did many years later. So that's what inspired me.
Okay.
And then I started, I'd go to, they would have, these Broadway dance classes in New York City. And I would go there, and I'd spend some weekends there. And then I got into, street dance. So I started off street dancing. So
I thought you were going to say street gangs. I'm like, damn, bro, I didn't know you went there. That explains a lot of things.
Word?
Like, what's up?
Nah, stop it. I'm already wearing all red top. Chill. Anyway, so, damn. So, yeah, I would go to New York, and I would go and do all those dance classes. And I started getting into, popping, house, breaking, going to jams, competing.
Damn,
ended up getting into an international dance crew. So it was a really dope time for me, and not a lot of solo dancing, right? And I was doing a lot of popping competitions, so waving and stuff like that, and hitting. And the beautiful thing about solo dancing, especially if you're somebody who has a lot of stuff that you want to work out internally, is just you and the music. It's just you and your feelings. So for me, during that time period, you're maturing from a young adolescence into a young man, or even a young woman, like a young person, right? Yeah. And it gave me the tools to rhythmically and meditatively go inside and assign maybe feelings I couldn't process, movement, action, and then explore that action while simultaneously exploring that emotion, exploring that.
Surely you didn't know that as you were doing it.
No.
Okay, I'm like, you're analyzing it now, and
yeah, postmortem.
Okay,
yeah,
I'm like, there's no way in hell that you were like, this is what I'm doing.
No, but what I did know at the time is, hey, I have an insecurity around this, or I don't feel comfortable in this. If I'm in a battle and somebody starts waving, how am I going to respond to that? If they start banging, if they start tutting, how am I going to respond to that? Right. I'm uncomfortable here. I need to get some comfort there and have something to respond with that's unique to me, that's at my own level with my own body mechanics that I can do that maybe somebody else can't do, right? So it forces me to explore different aspects of myself.
It forces you to explore the insecurities, the elements of the dance, like you were saying, that maybe you were not as good or incompetent, insecure. You knew it was going to come up at some point, so you had to work on it.
So that means you have to be introspective, right? Because again, this is a battle.
It's like if I know you're going to talk about my mama,
I'm going to have some
mama shit.
I better have some. Yeah. Oh yeah, my mama this, your mama so I got
to have your mama's material.
Yeah, and in the East Coast, people be gunning you heavy, so you got to be quick with it. Yeah,
I get it. Okay.
Yeah.
It's funny you bringing that up. Not funny, but it's a perfect segue for the benefits of it. For me, I can say that until I started dancing, obviously the biggest component to dancing and learning wasn't even about the moving as it was the social component. It was the meeting of other humans that are out there also moving, also dancing and exploring their bodies in that space and dancing to the rhythm. But internally and personally, it was until I started dancing, I was still very, very uncomfortable in my own body. As many people are. It's just a natural thing. And unless you grew up in a family or in a culture that just it's what you do, And I've seen those cultures and I've seen those individuals, and it's a beautiful thing to witness because they literally walk with a sense of confidence, and they don't think it's confidence. They're just being. But for me, when being able to dance at a later age, I was able to acquire that confidence. And not to say that I'm great, and by no means am I great at dancing, but I don't care. I am good enough, and that in itself has fed my ego to where I can stand in my own body. I can move. It has helped me so much. It's changed my entire life. As a result of it, and I'll fast forward and I'll give you the timeline. I started dancing Kizomba, Urban Kids in like 2004, 2013. And that's when I really, really fell in love with dancing because unlike the others, I liked them. Bachata I liked a little more than salsa. When I started dancing Kizomba and understanding the general concepts of it and the idea of being able to dance on any rhythm, to any tempo, and being creative outside of the basic steps that are being taught, I like, oh crap, I really like this. But once I started finding that comfort and really growing in it, I did look forward to going to classes. I did look forward to learning things. I still get nervous, by the way. I'll show up to classes and I'm like just freaking out. Last night we were in class and I'm freaking out, but I'm having a good time. But eventually it became such a part of my identity. I actually started saying I am a dancer. And I think that's one of the big things that we as humans have to overcome, is saying that I am a thing. If I actually remember a quote that I think about is from Talib Kweli, old school rapper. He says, if you can walk, you can dance. If you can talk, you can sing. You familiar? And that really stuck with me because the truth is we can all dance, we can all sing, but we have to allow ourselves to do so. So once I started really exploring that and becoming so familiar with it, getting comfortable, I started becoming someone that people recognized in the scene. People looked to dance with, people looked to chat with. And over the years, I ended up
man organized some of the best parties in the DFW Metroplex area.
So a big point there.
His passion.
Yes.
He's done a lot for the community. You just underplayed your entire what you've done.
The point is, I went from having diarrhea to go to dance classes to organizing events. I never planned on doing that. The reason I did is because I felt like dance and Kizomba and Urban Kids gave me access to a part of myself that I didn't have access to before. It gave me a sense of self-confidence, a sense of community. And to this day, I do organize. I help market an event that I used to run, Monday Night Kizomba in Dallas. I'm involved in it, even though I'm in the back end, because I want to continue to give this gift to others. If I can bring some people in, get the place hopping, and help make sure that it's fun, then others can possibly find this in themselves. And for me, it's just a gift that I can give to the community, I can give to the world, and hopefully change some lives. I will say that some people have met at Monday Night Kizomba, and
Monday Night Kizomba is another one of his events that he started.
And they ended up matching up and they got married. And I like to say that you might meet your match there, and I'll take all the credit, but if y'all break up, that's on y'all. Are you tired of burning through your marketing budget faster than you can say ROI? Posting on social media, crickets. Running ads, more crickets. Watching your marketing strategy flop like a fish out of water while you quietly sob into your coffee. Fear not, this episode of the Teevee Show Podcast is brought to you by, me. Teevee the Marketer, founder of Rockstar.marketing, here to stop the madness. We take your marketing dollars and actually make them do something, like work. Want video content and ads that'll stop your audience from scrolling faster than they stop for a baby panda video? Yeah, we do that. So, if you're done setting your marketing dollars on fire, visit www.rockstar.marketing and let's turn those crickets into cash. But that's what it's done for me, is my big point. It's something that I truly love. I don't dance as much anymore. This guy's dancing all over the place. So I had to ask you, what is still motivating you? What is still pushing you to continue to do everything that you've been doing, since you're already a master?
That question really makes me smile. I think of my father. Okay. So growing up, my father was an avid martial artist. And anybody who had any of those types of relatives that really have a craft, that really have something, they have their day job and then they have their art. For my father, it was martial art. And I would see how much time he dedicated.
That's where you get that from. But we're going to talk about that in a second.
I see how much he dedicated to his art and the discipline, especially he's raising kids, he's doing all this stuff, but he's making time to do these things. And he's also teaching in Chinatown, right?
He was an instructor?
He still is teaching in Chinatown.
Oh, I didn't know this. Okay,
Yeah.
wow. Okay. I thought he was just a student.
No. He's been teaching.
practitioner.
He's been teaching longer than I've been alive.
Oh.
Yeah, Shaolin and Tai Chi. Yeah, Shaolin Kung Fu and Tai Chi.
Okay, carry on. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This is
a lot more things are
information.
making sense about me.
Yes,
Okay.
I understand this man a little more.
So before I found dance, it was like video games and stuff. But as I kind of aforementioned about like solo dancing and kind of that journey within, after I graduated college and I was where was I at this point? I think California. That's when I really discovered salsa, like partner dancing. And the marked difference between solo dancing, this is all to your question about what it gave me or what motivates
I
me.
wanted to get into that. Yes, definitely.
Is there's a difference between doing work on oneself, for oneself, to understand oneself. It's a whole nother thing to now actualize that all this work you're doing, people call it shadow work, people call it inner work, all this stuff you're doing, how can you now push that to the forefront in your connections with the universe at large, with other people, with your job, with the world, with life? And partner dancing for me was that frontier. Again, this is me analyzing it now, right? Not then,
Yeah,
right?
You're just moving.
I was just grooving.
I gotta get good.
You know what I mean? Just grooving. Well, I also had a breakup at that time. No, but this is partner dancing. This is not solo dancing.
But hold
on.
breakup.
So what happened? What happened was I was in California. I'm used to being East Coast. We go to Jamaican parties. We wine. We do these things. You walk in with a white shirt, leave blue because all the jeans. Yeah.
Okay.
They know what I'm talking about.
Okay.
It's whining.
I didn't know
Sean Paul. Anyway.
Wasn't me. Was that the one? No.
That's people. They caught that on camera. Wow. Anyway, so when I was in California, I didn't kind of find like that same, because like in New York, you got the Jamaicans, you got the Haitians, you got like they throwing a back in and doing power, like S curves and stuff. When I was, I didn't get as much. Yeah. So man. But then I found salsa, and salsa was just a totally different flavor. And man, it was amazing. Like people were smiling. People were doing these beautiful, like just figures and stuff like that. And I said, I want to try that. I want to at least just be competent.
Is this what they would call California style at the time?
Cali style. It's just, it's just salsa.
Right.
You know, El mundo de salsa is.
Yes, but then there's different than Cuban, which is what you ended up gravitating towards.
I don't want to get into.
But the point is, I do want to get to that point where you gravitated to the more like grounded and like.
I love it. I love it. I love it all.
But yeah, I don't want general.
Because then
we start getting into it.
There's differences between salsa on 1, salsa on 2, timba, salsa cubana. Like there's a whole bunch of, but salsa is salsa.
Sorry.
No worries.
Pardon me.
So, and then from salsa, kizomba, and then from kizomba, zouk. But why do I still? I had to give zouk a little extra love. But why do I still dance? Why do I still? Because for me at this point,
when you reach a level of mastery, what's the point?
It's
right?
spiritual. It's like it's not like. It's we have hard days. We go through things in life, and I would hope that everybody. I'll use this quote. Everybody should have 3 hobbies, is what this quote says. One that makes them money, one that keeps them fit, one that keeps them creative. Mm-hmm. Dance for me is definitely one that keeps me creative. It also helps keep me fit. And in some cases, I've made some coin off of it. But really, it's a very spiritual thing because there's so much lessons I get for myself that I utilize in life. Like I can't imagine like not dancing to a particular, like
I don't know how he would live and tell stories without dance, because inevitably every story ends up in a dance metaphor. So I don't know what metaphors you would be using. See, it's just like dance. Like in dance, you have to go inside. So what would you be doing? I'm just kidding. We were in California. I'm sorry, I totally derailed you. You were in California. You found your thing there.
No, I think I kind of tied that knot off, just like because the question was, what is dance giving me, and
why do you keep being so motivated?
Because it's a spiritual thing. Me dancing is me connecting with myself, and when I have the very great privilege to then social dance, like we're here at Neo Kids, and dance with a partner. I get to share myself with somebody who's bringing themselves with hopefully full presence
Yeah.
and connectivity to me and to the music, and just get down and have a party.
Yeah.
You know, like there was some lady yesterday I was there just smiling and we just grooving. It was such a good time.
It's
Like
a fantastic experience.
it's so cathartic, man. It's
a good point.
Yeah.
So just for context, the reason I kind of made a big deal about his diligence is this man can practice by himself for hours on end. I'll call him like, "What you doing?" "Oh, just been practicing for like 3 hours." "With who?" "By myself." And it makes sense that because of your background and the way you saw your father, I'm sure.
Similar to like how, you know, people may not spar, but they'll shadow box or they'll go through the forms.
Right.
Like in Tai Chi, there's a thing called the Gagi, which is basically them just doing it in the same forms, but just in a slow down version.
But it explains a lot about yourself that I had not really pieced together. You never shared that information.
I'll save that for the camp.
Okay. So for this big reveal here.
Well, you mentioned that you're not dancing as much these days.
Yes.
And you just mentioned how dance gave you so much.
Yes.
So why is dance kind of moving off the back burner, or what's causing dance to shift in priority, and what does dance mean to you at this point in your life?
Man, that's like 3 or 4 questions.
That is 3 or 4 questions. What does dance mean to you at this particular stage in your life? And there is a follow-up question.
Okay. I like this.
And
Let's start with one.
How does it feel to pass that on to your family?
Oh, yes.
Because I'm talking about a specific.
Yeah. So, as I was learning to dance, I was fresh out of a divorce, and I was taking classes. My daughters would come over, and I started teaching them what I was learning. I have old videos of them just dancing in an empty apartment that I had at the time, just living it up and being completely confident in doing so. It was a beautiful thing to see. So for me, it was something that I could give them as well, to have access to that part of themselves. I think it's very important that we understand our bodies, we understand how to move it. I'm convinced after experiencing it enough and reading enough about it that we're meant to dance. I actually told my daughter this the other day. We're meant to dance. We're given legs. We're meant to move. Like all our ancient ancestors, they danced in some form or another, right? Now we live in a society where we, for the most part, just sit and work, or maybe stand and work, but you don't move as much. We used to have to move to go get our food. We had to do all these types of things. You pray to the gods and dance to try to get rain and whatnot, right? But it was a movement, and it's something that's kind of been stripped from society for the most part, unless you proactively go look for it. It's not something that's built into our day to day. So I always try to encourage them to do it. They've had access to it. Both girls can dance, although now they've fallen into a more timid, just not as open to it because life has kind of happened to them. Yes.
I just want to say something about that point. It's amazing how as children we have reckless inhibition to dance, to move, and to all these things, even though I had my own stuff when I was a child.
This is a good example. Yeah.
But as an adult, having access to my body to be able to do things, and I feel like a lot of people who do yoga or advanced practitioners have this kind of thing. Freedom of the body allows freedom of the mind, or helps to induce freedom of the mind.
Yeah, energy flows throughout your entire body. It doesn't get locked up somewhere.
Correct.
I don't have access to my pelvis.
Yeah. So anyway, continue about what dance means to you at this point in time.
So at this point in time, it means a lot because it still means so much to me. My partner, my beautiful partner, girlfriend, I met through dance, through just hosting events. She walked in the door at one of the events I hosted, and she said, "Oh, him, I want him." And I said, "Me, I like you too." No,
is that what happened?
Sort of, not, but not really. I'm exaggerating, but it's a good story. let's tell it that way. But I met her there. We've been almost inseparable since we met. And dance, we still dance, not near as much. Once again, life has gotten in the way, but I still value it. And whenever we get a chance, I try to grab her. We'll dance in the kitchen. We'll dance wherever. We'll dance. Sometimes I'll grab her. I'm thinking of a step. I'm like, oh, I wonder if that would work. I'll grab her in the grocery store, and we'll, like, in the middle of produce aisle, do a quick step because I'm really curious. But dance still means a lot to me. And although I don't do the partner dance as much, and go out as much, I still am involved because I know that it's my way to kind of be involved from a distance. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it does. And how is it now seeing one of your daughters?
Oh, yes.
I really want you to just like.
Oh, you really want me to tell? So
you don't have to tell us, but just speak on it, how because dance is a gift you've now given to your daughters.
Yeah. So my oldest daughter, she stopped dancing, and I could still see her wiggle from time to time. And I recently told her, like, baby, you don't dance much anymore. And she can flow. She's got this like hip hop flowy just thing that she has, and she's beautiful and swaggy about it. And I recently told her that, and something happened, and something clicked in her head at the house, and she just started feeling herself. Music was vibing. She was into it, and I loved watching her just be. Just there was no steps. There was no like, oh, I had to. Although she did dance some bachata, she did request bachata, because that goes back to the dancing that we did when she was. I mean, she must have been like 10 at the time or 9. And just watching her just be so comfortable and access that part of her made me extremely happy, because I mean, if it starts inside, right? It starts in our body, and we live our in our mind. Then we live our outwardly. Whatever we're feeling inside is the way we're going to show up in the world. And for me, it was important that she remembers that and comes back to that. And she promised that she's going to start doing it again and dancing more comfortably, because she's amazing. She's beautiful while she does it too. It was for me, it was almost tear-inducing kind of moment.
Thank you for sharing that story on my behalf. Sure. And while we're continuing the theme on dance, you mentioned you haven't danced in a while.
Yes.
So we have just concluded our first 24 hours of the Neo Kias.
You don't have to keep doing that. I think they get it.
Okay.
I think they get it.
Yeah. Well, of the Kizomba Festival.
Yes.
How are you feeling? I mean, because yesterday was your first time kind of getting back into the groove after a while.
Well, I did have one other instance in Mexico.
Oh, yeah, that's right. That's right, when you were in Mexico. Okay.
So this is the second time this year where I've been dancing quite a bit. Cathartic was the word you used, which I feel is appropriate. It just feels nice to move, and now I don't get the diarrhea. I do get nervous, but I just knowing that I can show up and not have to be as stressed about knowing all the steps. That I can show up late to class and pick up what's happening and learn the things that they're teaching, and then just meeting people. I really enjoy the meeting part. Life is social, and for me, this is one of the most social things that you can do. Some of my best friends, and let me tell you how I met this guy. Some of my best friends I met through dance, including this dude right here. We keep talking about dance. This is how we met. So let's rewind to 2017, 2018. 2018. An ex-girlfriend of mine and I went. Well, I was going to class, and she decided I wanted to go back to class because it was a lot. This has been all my life, on and off, on and off, on and off. I had been off, and I wanted to go back. I go to class, and she comes with me. In the class, there is a shortage of follows, and they ask.
Quite common.
No.
It's actually no leads. It's sort of a leads. Yeah.
Leads. There's a shortage of follows, and I'm competent enough, and I had actually been curious about learning how to follow so I can understand how to lead. And that was now it's very common.
That one sentence has profound volumes, because they say you can't be a good leader unless you know how to follow.
Right. And that day I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'll do it. So I became a follow in that instance.
Was that your first day following?
I think I had practiced with my ex-girlfriend at the time because she was trying to learn how to lead.
Okay.
So it wasn't 100% like new first time.
Okay.
But first time I had done it like outside of that. It was in a public forum.
Got it.
So they do these roundabout things, these circles where you kind of cycle through for a little 5 minutes, 3 minutes, practicing a move and a step. And I'm the follow. And I end up partnering up with dudes for the most part. And they have to embrace me, and they have to get into the frame. And for the most part, the fellas were kind, but there's a little awkwardness, which I get, no big deal. So they kept me at a distance, right? There's room for me and Jesus. Fantastic. I eventually get around to Chris, and I've never met you up until that moment. I don't think we had not spoken. We'd never spoken, and he locks me in. He's got me chest to chest, and I'm like, "Ooh, hello." There's still room for Jesus. Don't make no mistake about it. But so we're dancing. He's moving. We're like, oh snap! This is what the ladies feel. It's pretty damn cool. So he's moving me, and I think I'm following pretty well. And then he asked me, he said, you have any feedback? He's always like that. He's really receptive to feedback.
Feedback is a gift.
Yes. And he asked for it. And I was like, this is what I've learned, and maybe you can consider. And he's like, okay. Teacher comes around later or after my cycle, I guess, with him. And he's like, hey, please share, some feedback for your partner, and what'd you learn? And I'm like, ooh, I got something. And I volunteered and said, look, I get it, ladies. I understand now why you dance this, why you put so much time into it. It is a beautiful feeling. There's nothing sexual about it. It's a hug, essentially, a moving hug for the most part. And it was just this connection. I'm like, Jesus, this is really neat. And I can see the intoxication behind it. And I said, and by the way, ladies, if you get a chance to dance with this dude, make sure to make it happen, because this guy is awesome. And that's how we met. Hey, remember earlier when I told you about Rockstar Marketing and how we could stop your marketing strategy from flopping around like a fish in the desert? Yeah, that's still true. But maybe you didn't catch that. Maybe you're thinking, I'll just keep throwing money at random ads. I'm sure something will stick eventually, right? Wrong. Spoiler alert, it won't. Look, you don't want to be that business owner that keeps trying to solve their marketing woes with duct tape and wishful thinking. You need results. You need Rockstar.marketing. So if you're finally ready to stop the slow motion train wreck that is your current marketing plan, visit www.rockstar.marketing and let's make your business the rockstar it deserves to be. Otherwise, enjoy those crickets, and now back to our show.
Thank you. You said something important that I also want to double click on.
Go for it.
Yeah. Man, the dance connection, right? And everything I'm saying, I feel like this parallels to other areas of life.
It's a metaphor.
It's a metaphor because it's dance, right?
Right. You're allowed to do all the
dance
metaphors you want. Go.
All right.
You bet.
So you were just talking about connection. You were talking about feeling, frames, and just understanding. And one thing that I've come to realize in my own dance, and I like to say this, is that the magic of the dance is in the follow. Because it's a follow, you don't really turn your brain off, but you're listening, you're flowing, all this stuff. You're receiving. But the power of the dance is in the lead. So the magic of the dance
the lead or the follow
is in the magic of the dance is in the follow.
Okay, yes.
The power of the dance is in the lead.
Okay, got you. You lost me there for a second.
Right. But there comes this special moment now, like, because I've been doing a lot of Zouk, where I can follow the follow, even though I'm leading.
She is communicating back.
She's communicating back. So
she's giving
I
you
have
information.
To listen. So it's almost like I'm suggesting something.
It's a conversation.
It's a conversation.
Yes.
It's 100% a conversation. And I find that in life too, a lot of times we just got to listen more. Like people are communicating like, okay, I received.
But sometimes they're not saying words. Yet they're still communicating.
Yeah.
Like it's subtle, but there's
an energetic thing.
Yeah, there's a communication. Sometimes it's not words.
Yeah.
Or there's unfortunately meanings under the words.
Yeah.
But you're right. I see where you're going with that.
Yeah, and like I feel like dance has really, especially when I look around my friendship group who are very great dancers, they all have this increased level of empathy. And they've all also tried following at the same side. So now they see things from different sides. So they understand, hey, it's not, it's hard, It's not as easy, but we commend you for trying. Right? So that level of consideration, of grace even, right, allows them to tackle because some people have some really complex life situations going on outside of the dance that I've seen them navigate with such grace, such attention. And I believe dance to be one of those ways that they've practiced and cultivated that type of tenacity, that type of grit and integrity, which is very, I don't think people would put it into the same context. So I think that's one of the things about like why there's a shortage of leads, males who are, and leads doesn't necessarily reflect just males, right? Yeah. But just
an individual that leads the dance.
Correct.
Male or female. Yeah.
Correct. It's because they look at dance and like, oh, that's very like, right?
Whatever,
I want to do MMA. I want to do fight. And
but to be able to show up and dance, you have to have a sensitivity or a willingness to touch, because there's nothing wrong with wanting to fight and wanting to train that part of yourself. But
I think everybody should know how to defend themselves.
But now there's this other part of you that also needs to be nurtured, And this is sensitivity and this communication. In one sense, you're trying to beat the other person to submission. And the other one, you're trying to communicate with them without words.
And it pushes your body, your stamina, your flexibility, your strength, your presence, your focus. It pushes multiple quadrants of your being to the limit. I mean, how long was the party going on until? Like 4, 5, 6, 8? And like,
Yeah.
you know.
Oh, I am not staying out there.
And
I don't have that stamina. I'll never have that stamina.
But it's just, yeah, I dance is so wonderful. I'm so glad I found it.
I love it. Thank you very much for that. Chris is actually going to read the essay that he was talking about earlier because I think it is useful for context.
I feel like I'm in kindergarten and like, yeah, please present to the class.
Mr. Chris, do you have something to say?
But no, I like to encapsulate and crystallize some of my thoughts on just things called like atomic essays and stuff. He's really got me into the habit of journaling and writing things down, and I wasn't a big believer of it, but I'm beginning to see the power the more I do it. So that's just a shameless plug to anybody who's considering it. Try it. But one of the things I wrote, obviously, is about dance, which is a very special topic to me. So I just would like to take a few minutes to read this to you, and I think it's going to answer and share more insight on how I feel about dance.
Gives more context to a lot
Gives
of things
more
you probably already
context.
said.
I probably already said. So yeah. But dance is one of the things I love most about existing as a human. Dance is the intersectionality of health and fitness, sensuality, mindfulness, spirituality, community. Dance especially means so much to me because I was deathly insecure about growing up dancing. I vividly remember the humid, hot days growing up in Ghana where my mother and aunties would blast high life music and get the fuck down.
You got to play some high life music for me later because I'm really curious now.
I got you.
Yeah.
I would marvel in awe as the African rhythms move their bodies, spread smiles across their faces, as the community would buzz vibrantly as they lost themselves to the spirit of the drums, percussions, and vocals. Other kids my age would then jump in and become possessed by the same spirit as they bounced around gleefully in unison. Ecstatically, my mother would call for me and I would run away, all the while yearning to be held by her side amongst the community. This left a scar in my spirit for many years until I decided to allow that version of me to die so that I could conceive a new sense of self that would profoundly boogie-oogie on down with them. I'm proud to say that I'm here now and that dance has rewarded my life so unequivocally it seems unfair.
Yeah, a lot of your friends. I'm sorry, I'm interrupting your essay. I'm a terrible host.
Becoming a dancer has allowed me to continually reach into the depths of my soul and become comfortable expressing the imperfections of my spirit blissfully. Freedom and liberation at its finest. Commonly in my conversations with other dancers, I find that many arrive at dance for many different reasons, but we all have the same artistic struggles. For me, dance has been a potent gateway into myself. Now, for me, it's dance. For you, it might be video games, tennis, NPC bikini competitions, or even bodybuilding. Whatever it is, I hope you allow yourself to venture as deeply into the rabbit hole as you can, because at the bottom, you will only discover yourself. And how wonderful is that? Dancers are the athletes of God. We dance for laughter. We dance for tears. We dance for madness. We dance for fears. We dance for hopes. We dance for screams. We are the dancers. We create dreams. Albert Einstein.
No. Albert Einstein? Is that one of those misquoted? Like, he's been quoted as, like, he supposedly said that, I don't know. He's been given so many.
That's who I
But
attribute
that
that
is a
quote.
beautiful quote. I love that.
Yeah.
You actually make me remember something, and specifically about Kizomba. Kizomba is a traditional dance that comes out of Angola. And from what I understand, one of the reasons that it's held so closely to the heart of the country and its citizens and its people is because during their civil war, I want to say in the 70s, a lot of bad things were happening. A lot of people were dying, but they still danced. Dancing was what allowed them to survive it and make sense of it. And to know that, it also fills me with incredible amount of drive to make sure to nurture the foundational components of Kizomba, because it comes from a place of love. It comes from a place of survival. And I think you'll find that in all the traditional dances, if you trace them back far enough, salsa, bachata, it goes back to the people, to the poor people, to the indigenous people, to just make sense of their world, make sense of life, and just try to enjoy the moments that they have with their families and with their community. So I think that you really triggered that memory. It is really, really important. Now we kind of glamorize dance a little more than I think it used to be, but almost every one of these dances that are really popular now has origins or has as a part of their origin story where it was shunned, it was dismissed, it was said that it was the dance of the poor people, it was terrible. But now it is actually almost all of them like glamorized in a way that you even have ballroom versions of it, overly glamorized versions of it. And it's a beautiful thing, and I want to make sure to say that because it is important. It is. I love that quote. I'm sorry, you're going to say something.
No need for apologies, and thank you. When you mentioned the glamorized version of dance, one thing that I'd be remiss if I didn't call out, like, a lot of times I'm seeing a lot of people anxious and nervous because they're not getting steps, because they don't look picture perfect, because they don't look like somebody they saw in a YouTube video, or they don't, it's one of those things where it's a feeling.
It really is.
It's like house. In Jack's house, house is, it's like house culture.
Okay, you lost me there.
Yeah. It's like house dancing. It's full on. Got it. But yeah, so remember, it's nobody came out here to be professional.
Some did.
Some did. Fair.
Some did.
I'm not talking to you.
Your masters, your performers.
I'm not talking to you.
Yeah.
Y'all keep doing what y'all doing because we love to see it. It's inspiring. It's beautiful. The way you push your body and the technique to the utmost limit. So good. Thank you. But for most people,
for the rest of us, sorry, for the rest of us.
You came down here to just have fun. Remember that. Too many nights I see different people just getting in their heads, myself included. I'm not immune to this. Yeah. But I got to remember, we're here to have fun, enjoy life, celebrate life, give to life through this art form of dance, right? So don't worry if you don't get the steps right. Don't worry if you feel like you look foolish. How do you feel?
Yeah, you're having fun. So to piggyback off of that, I used to teach classes, and I remember I had this one class once, a long time ago.
Oh, no, I'm just...
Oh, okay, I thought you looked surprised.
No, I'm just...
So we were teaching dance classes, ex-girlfriend and I, and there was this individual in the class who was struggling, and he really was struggling. But it was a beginner class, and at some point, he basically starts to get up and leave. I'm like, what's happening? Let's just say his name's Thomas. Thomas, what's going on? Why are you leaving, man? And he's like, man, I don't get it. I can't get the steps. I suck. I'm like, dude, it's not that serious. 1, 2.
I get it, though. I get it.
He was leaving. He left his follow right in the middle of a thing we were doing, and it was like, what's happening? I just didn't understand. And I had seen.
¿Qué pasó?
He's frustrated, and I get the frustration, but I'm like, why are you leaving? I mean, and he explains, and I'm like, man, do you not understand that before I introduced this to you, let's say 30 minutes ago, you probably have never done this, right? You've never done this movement. You've never done this step. And he's like, well, no. I'm like, so I was thinking quickly, would you slap a kid if they couldn't pronounce water right away? Like, you don't give yourself the same grace. You've never done this before. It's okay. Remember, we're here to have fun. We're here to have a good time. We're here to connect and become community. I get it. We all want to be good. But that's when, for me, I think when I started to understand that I'm not ever going to be a performer. I'm never going to compete. People keep on trying to get me in these Jack and Jills. I get that it does push you to get better, but, it also stresses me the hell out, and I just want to move. I just want to dance. So for me, it's just not that big a deal. But for those that are, like I said, continue doing that. But most of us, it's just something to have fun and connect and to become more in touch with our own bodies.
So on that note, there is a line from a movie that I love that I want to share. It's called Love Jones.
Oh, yeah,
Because
yeah.
I'm the blues and you're left. Like, nah, that's not the quote. Spit poet. Anyway, so in the movie, it features a prominent poet in the community, and then this young lady comes up, and she's like, "Oh, I could never be as good as you. You know, my poems suck," and blah blah. And he turns to her and he says, "Hey, it's not about. It's about reaching your own level, not about reaching his level or their level. It's about your own level. So have grace with yourself, right? Just like you said, that was a great. You're not going to slap a child for not pronouncing water correctly, right? Like, you know."
We're going to applaud him when he says, "Wah, wah." Oh, my God.
Yeah. So do the same. Just chunk it down. Just try to get a step. Just have fun. Like, I feel like we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be perfect, to reach these highlights where it's like, but are you enjoying it? Right?
You're not enjoying it, then what's the point? Just call it a day. Go home. I wanted to wrap up this conversation by bringing it back around to when I met him. And I think I want to hit a point here at the end, which is, so dance has given me the opportunity to meet a lot of people. And most of the time it's females because they're the followers are the people I dance with. But I've also made it a point to find friendships in the fellas because they're in the room with us. We can share, we can talk. And I literally have done that numerous occasions because I see guys in the room. And at some point, I'm like, I just walk over to them because it gives you the opportunity to just easily say, "Hi, I keep seeing you. What's your name?" And some of my best friends have come through those engagements because everyone's awkward. We're all awkward. We're in our corners. You know, like, "Oh, man, that guy's really good," or "That guy probably thinks he's all that." But if we just connect that line, connect the dots, you're in the same room.
You know, I thought you were Indian when I first met you.
You and everyone else. It's fine. It's probably everyone watching this video probably still thinks I'm Indian. Never mind the Mexico shirt I'm wearing. Go Mexico, right?
Assumptions. Until I talk to you, I'm like,
it's fine.
got it now.
Yeah, I love Indian people. I love my people. I love the worldly people.
I love the worldly people, yeah.
But to him, after that class, I'm like, man, something about him, and I think this is why dance also helps nurture some relationships, because if you're in the room and you're doing this type of work, chances are that there is some commonalities. And after I danced with him, I'm like, he seemed like a cool ass dude. He didn't feel weird. He didn't act all awkward, and it wasn't weird at all. So afterwards, I want to be his friend. And I'm over 40 now. And my big point is that we have to, there's just this cry everywhere about how we're lacking friendships and connections. And it's true. However, whose fault is it if not our own? We can blame social media, we can blame the world, but if you're not looking for opportunities to connect, then it's our own fault. At some point or another, we have to blame ourselves and hold ourselves accountable. And I try to do that as much as I can. I'm in the room with this dude. He seems comfortable. He seems cool. I run into him at another event. And I say to him, we're chatting, and I'm like, keep in mind, he's, I'll tell you in a second. So I'm like, "Hey, man, I want to be your friend. Will you be my friend?" And you say,
"Bro, he's already friends. Like, what are you talking about?"
"What are you talking about?" "Oh, yeah. No, man, I really want to be friends, though. Like, hang out, chat, have drinks, whatever. Like, do guy things." That was a horrible sentence. And he's like, "Sure, whatever, of course." And it seems so blah, but the reality is, that conversation needed to be had. We do this as kids. "Hey, you want to be my friend, Tommy?" Like, it's the same thing, guys. We have to do better, and we have to create opportunities and then connect the dots, and despite our own awkwardness. Eddie, shouts out to you. It looked like we were never going to be friends, but this guy.
Shout out to Eddie.
Right. This guy right here says you need to meet him. I'm like, I tried. He's just, and we're both awkward. We tend to be awkward because unless you just really grew up in a cool family or you just have this natural predisposition to being open to meeting people anywhere and everywhere, a lot of us are just awkward though. But if you find yourself in opportunities, if you're networking, like, connect those dots when you can and take accountability and responsibility for the friendships instead of waiting for them to magically show up. We need a community. We need people in our lives. And this is, for me, outside of the dance, which is fantastic, it is the community and it is the people.
Yeah, like, The dance community is awesome.
I will say, there are some creeps in the dance community.
I mean,
I don't want to dismiss that there are some weird ones, but we have to filter them out. Outside of that, there is creeps. There are some bad people, some bad characters who take advantage of the fact that people are more open in the community. Having said that,
the dance community is such a welcoming, awesome community. And like any other community, it has its ups and downs. I'm tired of just different things, but overwhelmingly, some of the warmest, some of the most cultured, some of the most diverse.
Oh my goodness!
Neurosurgeons, dentists, engineers, cooks, chefs, teachers, nannies, like
multi-ethnic,
like some people who bought Bitcoin at like $20. Like you meet so many. I mean, but I just put that in there to say that like you meet so many different people in the community. So if community is your thing, and it doesn't, I don't care if it's dance. I love dance.
That's true.
But
I love this. Okay.
You know, if you're somebody who's been craving community, if you're somebody who's been craving a third place, I recently read a report that a lot of people are depressed because they don't have a third place. They go to work and they go home. They don't have that place where they can have fun, creative, and an outlet.
Yeah. Where they don't have to have it always on.
Yeah. So if you're somebody who's craving a third place, I highly encourage you to find something that you enjoy. And if you don't know what you enjoy, please try out everything until you find something that you want to just continue to investigate.
It may be MMA being somebody's face up.
It may be that. It may be basket weaving. It may be crocheting.
I wanted to look into basket weaving.
It may be something else. But I can tell you, as somebody who loves dance and who loves the dance community, that the dance community is awesome. And you're going to be nervous. You're going to be anxious. Welcome it. It's a part of life. Continue to grow through it. And for me, it's been one of the most rewarding things. I've been able to share dance with my family. My father started dancing, dancing. Like, yeah,
okay.
Dude.
I love that. Bring it back home. I love that.
Dude, yeah, I had like, he gave me life.
Yeah.
So I got to share that with him. He still takes lessons to this day.
Are you kidding? Where's
I'm not. It's in New York, bro.
Where's he dancing?
I'm not gonna put it on blast, but anyway, okay, yeah. But I love it so much. I had a friend. She took him out dancing, and it's like, it's just my sister dances a bit. So.
We should all be moving in somewhere or another.
I hope so. He still does his martial arts. But my point being is, I am very fortunate to have found something that I love so immensely that I get to now also share with the people that I love, and brings me so many benefits. And I hope for you out there, it may not be dance, but I hope you find something that you love as well, that you can then build your community, build your own sense of spiritual attachment to it, and grow, and make your life even more fun and amazing than it already is.
There you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That's today's episode on dance, community, love, connection. Find your thing, find your friendships, find your community. I appreciate you for watching. I appreciate Chris here for allowing this to happen. We will be recording more and more and more because I'm determined to tell more stories, share more conversations, and connect more people virtually doing this thing, because we're all human after all.
And also, on whatever platform that you happen to watch this on, if there's some kind of topic or some type of thing that maybe you've heard us reference in the past, or something you want to hear our perspective on, feel free to drop a note. I'm not saying we'll get to everything, but we'll take a look and see what's interesting.
Yes, we will. We might bring you into the quiet storm. He dropped into his radio voice there for a second as he was signing off for the day. Thank you very much, and until next time, like, share, comment, do all the internet things, and I'll see you there. Bye.